Well, thank you for inviting me. I don't like the light so much. I'm still in the hangover from yesterday, whoever was there, so forgive me for my slowness. So it's interesting to be here for 2 weeks with these two very manipulative guys, because I think manipulation, when I was looking at my I think manipulation is a big subject for me, as well as for toxic dreams and Yossi and Michael, and they all do it, we each do it differently. And I have a strong belief, or I have a strong sense that reality is the main thing that manipulates me, and it's all around, and that I'm constantly being manipulated somehow. And it makes me work, it makes me want to show that I am manipulated, and then I want to show to somebody else, and then I want to manipulate it myself, and I'm in this business of manipulation, but I'm not so much in creating the manipulation, but more into consuming it, and then internalizing it, and somehow turning it into something else. So most of my work is documentary based, and you can say I never know how to say this word, phenomenological? No. Like I follow phenomena, I see things in reality that somehow have for me a feeling that they are special, they are an event, they have a certain way of telling me something about something else. And I document them, and I deal with them in many ways. So I can show you a few, if I know how to do it. Okay. Show you the last one. It's always the one I like best. And it's, this was shot in Israel in the last few months. There is a phenomena in Jewish tradition. There is something called the Shabbat. I'm sure all of you know what it is. It's the moment where it's the seventh day, you're supposed to rest. God is resting, we are resting, you can't create anything, you can't use anything created by mankind, basically, according to Judaism. And in Jerusalem, there is this, in religious neighborhoods all over Israel, there is this ritual that they do, that they block the entrance of their neighborhoods. Somehow, it's not an official entrance, not every neighborhood has this kind of, main street, but they don't want cars in, so they block somehow the road. It's completely civilian, it's supported by the police, it's a known phenomena, but it's done by the residents. And I documented this. I had to go every Friday because it's happening every Friday at the same time, because the Sabbath enters every Friday at the same time. So it's all over, so I had to go every time for a different location. So that's this journey.
One question. You say it is supported by the police. Does it mean by law it is allowed, or
yeah, it's
not allowed?
It's allowed.
Okay. It's not a law?
It's not allowed.
No, is it allowed by law, or is it forbidden by law?
It's not allowed and not forbidden by law.
Okay, there is just no.
They just do it and everybody accepts it.
No, the fact that they accept that it's done, for me, is a permission.
Yeah, but it's
and
not a written law.
No, but
it's not a written law.
You cannot just block a street which is going to somebody else.
Yeah.
You can block the Israeli embassy in Vienna, but it's...
No, it's a very specific...
You cannot do it by law.
Yeah. No, it's a strange thing. It's strange to do it. So, it's 7 minutes and 13, and I prefer if we'd watch it the whole way through. So... actors, huh? Any questions?
that house? Yeah. That was
Yeah.
really like this?
Yeah, it's a very strange house. I did a photography project about this house. I can show it later.
Why is it built like this?
It's built by an architect called VOL.AT, an Israeli architect based out of Berlin. He's about 8 years old. He's actually a great architect, and he designed this neighborhood for religious Jews to live and have some kind of internal courtyards, so they can kind of have the same lifestyle as they had in, I don't want to say the ghetto, but somehow in smaller neighborhoods, but a completely artificial structure, because usually these small alleys and places where there's like narrow roads, they kind of happen in cities. And he wanted to recreate it artificially. He made this neighborhood built like a hand out of these kind of like a beehive structure. And and it's there from the 70s, and it was sold to this, it was cheap, and it was supposed to be this mountain that they live there, and they do, and it's crazy. I mean, I can show you pictures of it later if you want.
He was basically inspired by the idea of beehive. So it's built a bit like a beehive.
And what happened is he's a good architect, but he built these, the actual apartments are very small and have very low ceilings and have many people because they reproduce hysterically, so they're families of 6, 7, 8, 9, kids. So they slowly, what's interesting now with the building 40 years later is that they built their own, they extended their rooms. So this beehive structure is completely broken, and now there's like defects that are created by their needs. So it's actually interesting in another way. So any questions about this video?
Yeah, I have a question about the sound. Was this some extract of the real sound, or was it artificially worked through afterwards?
The sound is completely artificial. It's done by a Foley artist, by a guy who does sound for films. And it was a big part of the work started from the sound for me, from the sounds of Jerusalem. And that I lived there, and I experienced the different sounds of the city in different times. And during this moment, this holy moment of the entrance of the Sabbath, there started all these kind of very rude and crude sounds of scratching and moving. And the work started from the moment of how a sound becomes a border, how a sound becomes physical. And
is there a reason why there are just men doing this?
the women are cooking at home. They're busy. They're cleaning, they're cooking, there's a Friday dinner coming, they're not doing this thing. And it's not only men, it's actually, I'm not a sociologist, but and this phenomenon is not really official, so there's nobody really to talk about it with. But what I discovered from talking a bit is that it's either kids who are doing it and they love doing it because it's their moment of confronting the secular part of Jerusalem, the others, and they're suddenly a group, and it has a lot of moral issues, this moment, to place this border. Or it's like these old guys who just have this position because they live a block away from them. Whoever lives closer to the place of the gate is the gatekeeper.
It's important to say that in the 70s, the neighborhood was still mixed between religion and non-religion, and every Saturday they would throw stones on every car that went down, and the police will come, and it will be a big mess. Every Saturday, almost in the 70s, and then what happened that the non-religious people started to leave the neighborhood, and the neighborhood became just a religious neighborhood, and then the solution that they can close the street came in, because now nobody lives there besides them.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a ghetto.
And I have a feeling that this phenomenon that I documented will not be happening in a few years or even next year, because it's being more and more religious and less secular, and there's no need to block it from nobody. So you just have street signs and people respect the street signs. But it's a very important physical moment of doing this, making this border that I think now it looks a bit irrelevant, but it's still happening. So
Did you have problems with it?
yeah, I had to say I'm not Jewish. I had to stand far away. It's filming, it's filming documentary and filming people who don't want to be filmed. not only because they're private people who don't want to be filmed, but also because it's breaking their belief, it's breaking the Sabbath rules for them. So what I was doing had to be really kind of hidden, but at the same time I believe I have a right to document whatever happens in the streets. So but I was really torn. It was a tough kind of work to do, taking people's images. It's a big question, but I asked it and I answered it and I'm fine, but I think it's a question to ask somehow. So you can see there's Israel, Berlin, Tel Aviv, Karlsruhe, Tel Aviv, Bangkok, Paris, Tel Aviv. So why am I doing it? Because for me it's a big part of how I work. I work from traveling, and I work from looking at something that I haven't seen before, and it kind of makes me, somehow it turned out that it makes me work, and after a few years I know that if I'm blocked, I just go somewhere I wasn't before and something will happen. So it's kind of a documentation of my movements to find what to do. So another piece? Which one? You'll see? A souvenir? Maybe souvenir. Because it's Tel Aviv, it's nice for you to see. You see, because Berlin you all know, and this is for my head and souvenir. So I'll just say a few words before. So this was shot in Tel Aviv, 2004, and it has the guy you will see here, the person who appears in the video, is an illegal immigrant from Congo to Tel Aviv. There's a huge amount of immigration from Africa to Israel, and he came one day to clean my studio, and he started remarking on things that were on the wall, and we started to talk, and then I said, forget cleaning, let's work together, and we started having this exchange for a year of, I film him, I ask him about Africa, I want to know about Africa because I will never go there because I'll get sick and die in a minute, so he's my eye, and at the same time, I asked him to show me Tel Aviv, because this was after I was in Tel Aviv for about 3 years, and I was sick of it, and I wanted to see it new. So I asked him, I used him as an eye, a stranger's eye, as I would use myself, to show me Tel Aviv through another, I was born there, so I know it, but to show it through another eye. So I asked him a question, I asked him 2 questions, and these 2 questions started the project. One was, show me where you go when you miss Africa, when you miss home. Of course, he said he doesn't have time to miss nothing because he's cleaning and he's tired. But he took me to places that look like Africa, so he could show me Africa. And I was filming this walk with him, and he was in control of the camera. He was telling me what materials to put in, what locations to go. It was really very much his kind of positioning. And at the same time, I asked him in the studio. I asked him to tell me something that happened in Africa to him, because I wanted the story that he's telling me now in Israel, but that didn't happen in Israel. And he chose, it's completely his choice to tell me the story where he discovered that his father is not his father when he was 8 years old. Now I'm telling you this because he's telling the story in 5 languages, because he speaks 5 languages, and I edited, he said the story 5 times, and I edited so it kind of makes linear sense. But if you don't speak the languages, you'll have black holes, which is fine for me because there are black holes in anybody's story. So.
To remember, Alice.
לזכור. אני זוכר.
אני זוכר. To forget.
שכחתי.
זוכר, שכחתי. אני זוכר. Donc je me souviens quand Nazareth a âge à 8 ans. At this time I was supposed to go to VOL.AT. Il s'est passé quelque chose dans ma vie. C'est-à-dire que d'habitude, maman, papa, n'ont tenu il y a la tenue, matanote. Il y avait des chaussures, il y avait des vêtements, il y avait des sacs, il y avait des biscuits, des bonbons, charcuterie, par exemple, jambon, saucisse, il y a un